Okay, so before I do start this video, I just want to give you guys a warning that yes, I am sick. So if my voice sounds a little weird and a little off, it's mainly because yes, I'm sick. But besides that, oh my god, bro, I can't believe it. I cannot believe James Gunn did it. James Gunn literally took out the DCEU Justice League away from the finale of Peacemaker, and he just slotted his Justice Gang inside the exact same scene. It's crazy. Like, it was just that simple. Just like that. Everybody was talking about how James Gunn was gonna have so much trouble trying to explain, like, why was the Justice League there? Why is the Justice Gang now going to be there moving forward? Like, what was he going to do? That it was going to get too complicated, that the people were not going to be able to follow and whatever James Gunn was going to try and explain. But just like that, James Gunn just said, you know what, we're going to keep the exact same story that we got in Peacemaker season 1. The only few changes that I'm going to be making is taking out the Justice League and putting in the Justice Gang. So for episode 1, there is a recap that is titled Previously in the DCU, which basically means that he is rewriting history from the season 1 finale. And in that finale, let's remember that we saw silhouettes of Aquaman, Flash, Wonder Woman, and Superman. But this brand new scene of the Justice Gang did include Superman, Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, and one of the most surprising cameos, it was Supergirl. And of course, the exact same scenario did happen. Like, they all arrived very late for the Butterfly final battle. They even changed another scene in Peacemaker season 1 where one of the characters was saying, you guys should call the Justice League for some help. But in this brand new scene, it has been altered in season 2, and we saw that exact same scene, and they explained we should call it the Justice Gang. And so it is official. The Justice League from the DCEU has been retconned, and what has been canon is the Justice Gang. So this brand new recap that we saw is not part of the present day events in Peacemaker season 2. It's a flashback, which is showing us how season 1 did end in this brand new DCU timeline. And according to James Gunn, he explained that the events of Peacemaker season 1 still happened. The new Superman film of 2025 takes place after those events, which was the Justice Gang scene. And right after the recap, when we get officially into season 2, it does take place 1 month after Superman. So in other words, the Justice Gang scene that we saw did take place before the events of Superman in July, not after. If you guys are unfamiliar with the Justice Gang, Peacemaker actually referred them to a team, but they're not really an official team like the Justice League. It's more of a loose alliance of heroes who are active, and they occasionally cross paths, as we did see in the Superman movie. And this is important because the Justice League that we all want to see does not exist yet in the DCU, meaning it has not been formed yet. So characters like the Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, the Flash, they all work individually. And James Gunn did confirm that all of this was intentional. And the way that we are going to be going through the first chapter of the DCU is that one of the final few films that we will be seeing is the Justice League being formed. So there is a huge difference between the Justice Gang and the Justice League. The Justice Gang have a lack of structure, limited team chemistry, and also power imbalance, meaning that Hawkgirl, Gardner, and the rest of the members only like to have and recruit people who have great powers, not people who have like very quote-unquote weak powers. So for example, if they saw Bruce Wayne and they saw what he could do, they're going to be saying like, oh yeah, like you have no powers. The only power that you have is that you're super rich, and that's it, which means that you are not good for the Justice Gang. Going back to this team though that we saw during the recap, James Gunn did explain before that he is writing a Superman follow-up film, and James Gunn is heading towards production very soon. He did state that this is going to be an ensemble film with Superman being a major part of the film, but he's not going to be the sole focus. And he also explained that this film that we will be seeing very soon is going to contain characters that have already been introduced to us in the DCU, which does include characters like Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, Gardner, Supergirl, and Superman. That is the exact same group of characters that we got introduced during the recap scene in Peacemaker, which basically means that James Gunn was trying to tell us that this lineup that we saw is going to be the exact same lineup that we will be seeing during the Superman follow-up film. Like, this is it. These are going to be the characters that we are going to be seeing. So that brand new movie that James Gunn is writing and heading towards production very soon, it could be called Superman and the Justice Gang, or maybe a Justice League International style of movie. Who knows? The only thing that we know is James Gunn is preparing us for the final team-up film, which will be the Justice League in the future. Now, here's the thing. Many are going to have questions about Supergirl and why she's even in this team in the first place, because everybody was questioning, why would Supergirl be here when she wants to work alone, when she's a wreck, when she is just a mess? Why is she complying with the super gang and working with others? So let's remember, the Supergirl movie that we will be seeing will take place after Peacemaker season 2. Supergirl being in this scene during the recap did take place before we saw Supergirl in the Superman movie when she came in drunk and came to pick up Crypto. So this probably does explain why Superman saw Supergirl in that final scene in Superman and was like, yeah, that's Kara. That is because they have seen each other a lot and they see each other often. And I do get that impression that Supergirl just comes in and out of the Justice Gang, like she comes and helps whenever she does want. Once again, very unprofessional, going back to what I said about the Justice Gang. They do lack a lot of structure and sometimes they cross paths. And maybe the Justice Gang picked her up and they said, we're going to recruit you, you come whenever you want. And to the Justice Gang, it just does not matter. They just see her superpowers and what she could do and not her personality. Hence the reason why she works with them sometimes. This is why in that interview scene when they were interviewing Peacemaker, even though Peacemaker was a great person and he was explaining his struggles, the Justice Gang simply just did not care. They already ruled him off because of his powers and what he could do. They said, oh, you don't have super strength, you cannot fly, you can't do any of that. We don't care about your personal struggles, we don't care about your actual character. What can you do for us? And that is why, once again, they have recruited Supergirl instead of Peacemaker, even though Peacemaker might seem more worthy. There were also many other Easter eggs in episode 1. So for example, a lot of Gotham and Batman related references. Before Peacemaker was going to go into that interview and into that building, we saw White Rabbit come out crying, who is a Gotham like rogue, a very Alice in Wonderland themed type of villain. She appears very briefly, but it's a hint at who Batman in the DCU could be encountering. This is a character that secretly does live like a double life, and one of them is being this costume criminal. What makes her very different is that she's not really driven by like revenge or like trying to get back at somebody, but the thrill of danger. And she likes to play that game of outsmarting the Batman. And I know, right? Like, can you imagine Robert Pattinson's The Batman having a villain like the White Rabbit, knowing that she looks like this? Like, how are you gonna grab a character like that and bring her into the world of Robert Pattinson's The Batman? I just feel like thematically, it does not make a lot of sense. Another reason why James Gunn is creating a brand new fantastical Batman. We also saw a reference of Chris's brother talking about Blüdhaven, which is teasing Nightwing and a future entrance. Once again, very much connected to the Batman world. So already at this point, since the Superman movie, we have gotten 4 Batman related references. One of them was about the Gotham sign being seen when the people were trying to leave Metropolis. We saw a newspaper from the alternate Peacemaker world where it did confirm that Peacemaker, his dad and his brother did save Gotham City from the Ultra-Humanite. There were so many Batman references, and clearly James Gunn is trying to hint at us that the Brave and the Bold is coming very soon. James Gunn also recently stated that there are 4 DCU projects that are developing really well right now. One of them is Booster Gold, another one is Paradise Lost, Wonder Woman as well, and most importantly, the Batman, the Brave and the Bold is being worked on right now. So it was a really fun show. I really did enjoy it. There were so many emotional moments, like for example, Peacemaker telling his brother that he loves him. That was also very emotional. The fact that the Peacemaker killed his alternate self, that's going to be a huge problem going into episode 2, because how is Peacemaker going to explain that his other version no longer exists in the alternate world? How is he going to explain it to his alternate dad and his brother? You can also already see that maybe Peacemaker is going to say, I belong in this world, I want to be here, I can just take his place, it's not really a problem. It's going to be very fascinating to see how all of that does unfold. But let me know in the comment sections down below, what other Easter eggs did you see in episode 1 that I did leave out? That is it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.